The Christian faith has long declared that ultimately full healing will come to the world. However, the question of how this health is brought about has been a source of division within the Christian community. Some suggest that any medical intervention reveals a lack of trust in God to bring full healing, while others believe God heals only through natural means, which include both mainstream and alternative medical interventions. However, most fall somewhere in the middle, believing that God heals primarily through natural means and sometimes through supernatural means, where those natural means will not suffice. Christian tradition is riddled with astonishing testaments to Christ's supernatural healing work. In the Gospel of John, 4 of the 7 miracles are focused on healing, and the culminating and definitive evidence of Christ's divinity is his ability to raise Lazarus from the dead, in John 11. Later, Christ's apostles are recorded as healing those upon whom their shadows fall, in Acts 5:15. Many branches of the church continue to believe in Christ's healing power through his followers, as evidenced in various lives of saints, missionary stories, and faith healings. However, history also contains myriad stories of medical work carried out through the hands of Christ's followers. St. Luke, the author of the Gospel by the same name, was a physician. Christians in the ancient world were known for visiting the sick and doing what they could with natural means to alleviate their suffering. The Catholic Church has started more hospitals than any other organization in the world, and my own grandfather was a medical missionary with the Evangelical Free Church, who used medicine as a method of spreading the gospel. Clearly, the medical profession and Christianity are not fundamentally opposed, so long as both are united in their pursuit of the same end, the wholeness of man. They are indeed mutually beneficial. The fact that Jesus has not yet healed all further complicates church discourse on healing. Questions arise, such as whether the failure in healing is due to a lack of faith, or whether the illness is due to personal or familial moral failure, or more broadly, the fallen state of the world. Indeed, Christ said of the blind man that his illness was in order that the works of God should be made manifest in him. In John 9:3. For me, these questions have been very personal because of my youngest sister's struggles with cancer from the age of 2 through the age of 7 when she passed away. I remember my parents wishing we had prayed more as a family together for her, while mentioning that there was such a large prayer network supporting her, including leper colonies in India. To suggest that she passed away because of a lack of faith on either her own part or on the part of those praying for her seems to rely on an understanding of God as merely the great judge and to ignore his role as the great father, physician, creator, and giver of life. We constantly declare that we cannot earn salvation. Neither, I would suggest, can we merit physical healing through our own faith. Another struggle that arose was the question of how best to respond to the cancer in a way that would bring the most healing to my sister. We did not relinquish hope that God could choose to heal her, independent of our natural efforts, but we also continued to use the natural ends placed at our disposal. Whether to use mainstream or alternative methods to treat my sister was a difficult choice for my parents, but they held on to a belief that God could work healing through them or despite them as he willed. The primary goal was to treat the cancer in a way that sought the fullness of health for my sister. For all of us presently, questions of how faith and healing interweave have been particularly emphasized during the pandemic. Indeed, wondering how much faith to place in medical recommendations, in hand sanitizer, in alternative cures, and especially in vaccines has characterized much of our discourse for the past year and a half. Many have portrayed faith in medicine and faith in God's deliverance as oppositional stances. Others choose to believe that God will save us purely through medical intervention. Regardless of our stances on the effectiveness of either natural healing or supernatural healing, we must not presume that the existence of one precludes the existence of the other, either generally or in specific circumstances. God is able to work naturally and supernaturally in his creation, and he is able to combine both the natural and the supernatural in specific instances as well. Natural healings, through the gifts which God has provided, are not independent of his grace, while supernatural healings may not be fully independent of his created order either. God has indeed given us the created order for our health. We see this in our relationship with food, where the natural created order works tangibly in us for our health. This does not suggest that we are independent of God's involvement. Rather, it is a tangible dependence upon his provision. Conversely, supernatural healings need not be independent of the gifts which God has provided. In the healing of the blind man, Jesus uses dirt and his spit as tools for the man's healing and instructs the man to wash in the pool of Siloam in John 9:6. We know this healing to be supernatural because the man born blind declares, "Since the world began, was it not heard that any man opened the eyes of one that was born blind?" In John 9:32. However, this supernatural healing did not occur without the use of natural substances. Sometimes God uses the natural things of creation for supernatural works. It is very easy to say that of course God can both work in accordance with the created order and supersede it, since God himself set the order. However, to live practically in accordance with this perspective is quite another matter. Many are called upon to make difficult decisions regarding physical health every day. So how do we take advantage of the grace God has given us naturally through medicine, while still trusting in his ability to perform miracles? Concisely, we live as people of hope. To live as people of hope means that we hope God will work and we take advantage of the opportunities he places before us. It means that even when these opportunities seem destined to fail and there is nothing left to try, we do not despair. And even when disease reigns supreme for now, still we have the hope that ultimately our great physician shall heal not only us and our loved ones, but creation in its entirety. What is it that makes Christian hope distinct? Succinctly, it is that we hope because of the resurrection. We do not merely hope for restoration, but because of the restoration we see manifest and completed in the resurrection. We know that God is not limited by time, space, or our understanding. The last enemy, death, has been destroyed. So we can turn in confident expectation towards God in the valley of the shadow of death and proclaim, not that evil does not exist, but that we shall not fear it. Living as people of hope allows us to fully embrace any means by which God chooses to work his healing. It encourages dialogue between medical and religious professionals because they recognize their common goal of human flourishing. In this hope, we can truly affirm human life and enter into the fullness of joy which Christ has already won for us. Thank you.